Peace. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am your foul player. I came on for this nighttime stream because tomorrow I'm going to be preoccupied, and I think that it was fitting with the subject at hand regarding the boxing business today. And when you have dudes like Errol, Spence, Canelo that are stinking up the game with this boxing business bullshit. It's more of a reason as to why I wanted to jump on, especially in the like I said, I won't be able to come through tomorrow. I have a obligation, or later today, so I wanted to knock one in for December 20th of 2021. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening or a wonderful early morning. And as always, I mean, I'm 100% humbled that you guys would come through and waste time with your boy. But here we are. I'm wolfing, and I think my wife's going to give me a haircut tomorrow. Yes, my wife. And I always preach about trying to be cheap and shit like that, and one of the haircuts is one of the things I knock the most. And even though I have an obligation, which I should look my sharpest, the thought of that $50, especially during the holidays, coming out of my pocket and going to my barber's pockets, who I happen to like, but it's not gonna happen. I haven't had a haircut in a barber like in a year, and neither should you. If somebody wants to crack on me, ooh, looking old wolfing, like, no. I mean, like, that's the fact that I, along with other Latino and Black youth, adults, waste too much money on these bullshit haircuts. That's money you should put elsewhere. But having said all that, I am going to be not sporting the hat maybe if my wife gives me a decent haircut or a good haircut. So, and I got to rock the glasses too, because since I had my little mishap, my eyes, my left eye especially, shakes a lot. But wanted to talk about the defense squad, the Errol Spence defense squad. And I think I'm going to make it a point of just putting a lot of shine on the violators in today's boxing game, whether that be a fighter, a promoter, you name it. I mean, it's going to be my job, I feel, or the content that I will be creating is going to be more about the people that I think are messing up the sport, and the lines that they put out there, to the world, which their fan or their rabid fans have to go out into the world and defend. I mean, it's pathetic. And I mean, I'll get into that shortly, but if it's sometimes people probe, to see what they get away with. If you can hear my cats, I'm sorry. But sometimes people probe to see what they get away with. And give me 1 second. I wanted to fix something behind me. It's bugging me. I'm sorry, guys. But sometimes companies, your friends, people you may know, enemies, they probe to see what you'll do in a certain situation. I mean, I think businesses do the same thing. They probe to see if you're willing to pay for a fight, if you're compelled to pay for a fight because of the content that you watch here on YouTube. A lot of times it's an echo chamber of people making you feel that you're obligated to paying for any of these fighters. These fighters ain't giving you anything to pay for. You shouldn't pay for them. Not just because I'm a cheapskate, but it is what it is. I mean, like a lot of these fighters are messing up the sport, and a lot of these content creators, a lot of these rabid fanboys have been messing up the sport. But I think when you have somebody who's essentially a nobody in Errol Spence in the boxing world, not that big of a deal, doesn't pair up with in the top 20, like maybe in if you go back to 2000 to the 2000s on. In the 90s on, he would be nowhere near the top 20. He'd probably be in in 25 or 30. You know, dude that really hasn't accomplished squat. I mean, dude that hasn't had big events like that, like some stop the world shit. Like the one that he did have, like that was a quote unquote success by selling a whopping supposed 350,000, according to their numbers, was done against the lightweight, moving up in weight in Texas with the Mexican crowd behind him. I mean, like, if you want to list off the accomplishments at any point, like, I mean, like, you know, you don't even have to do it as we speak or live, even though I'm always willing to put the invite for the live stream. I mean, like, anybody could come on, but the uh, the accomplishments aren't there, period. He hasn't had one big event, neither has Bud. I mean, like, but you, like, I mean, the comparisons to where a lot of these content creators and these fanboys make when comparing Errol Spence to Bud, I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's only given an avenue to let's make the fight be a secondary argument online, but let's make the primary argument of this Bud Errol thing business. And I understand if you did that, but in this case, it's not like one dude is way better than the other one. And even in a business sense, they're both lacking in a business sense. Or if you feel that one is doing better than the other one, it's not that much of a difference to be stopping a fight for 6 years plus, you know, going on 7 years. We're going to get this fight when Bud's what, 35, 36? It's whack. And I'm not saying that these content creators are the principal cause of that, but they're not helping. And, you know, the people that are stupid enough to buy these fights, I think a good portion of them are here on YouTube. Like, nobody would buy a fucking Ugis versus Errol Spence fight, or Errol Spence versus Porter, or Bud Crawford versus Porter. Nobody would buy that fight normally. Those are diehards that are buying that fight for the most part. You're talking about, like, you know, what equals a diehard nowadays? Like somebody who watches 10 fights per year plus. You know, but I think a lot of those people like are sometimes compelled by what they see here on YouTube. I mean, maybe not wholly, but I mean, if you're on here every day and you jump from channel to channel to channel and they're all repeating the same shit about this business bullshit, you know, but then months and years before, if it's a business thing that doesn't help their fighters, then then it's back to crying. But I mean, like, you know, when making this a business thing, I mean, where's the big difference in business factors between Errol Spence and Bud? I mean, you guys tell me. Where is that big difference that we haven't had this fight yet? I mean, in essence, like one of the big fights on welterweight was going to be Keith Thurman versus Bud Crawford, Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. We ain't get those fights. People act like, you know, let's not put pressure, like, and let's cheer on like Errol Spence for like doing bullshit, and let's tear down any motherfucker that dares to talk about my husband, Errol Spence. Ain't gonna diss my man. Fucking but when we do stuff like that, I mean, these fighters say like, fuck it. You know, we've probed them, and we know that if we fight somebody like or Dennis Ugas, we're gonna have a bunch of lackeys online, like endorsing the fact that this is a big fight and that people maybe should pay for it, or shooting down anybody who is a detractor and doesn't think that this fight's a big deal. None of Errol Spence's fights, zero in his career have been pay-per-view worthy. Thus the reason that I've never paid for one of his fights. None of Bud Crawford's fights have been pay-per-view worthy. Thus the reason I've never bought any of Bud Crawford's fights. You see where I'm going with this? Like, we don't ride or die like for these dudes that don't do shit. I mean, if these dudes were doing what they had to do in the ring, like, I mean, like, and you want to ride for that, ride or die for them, then it's go for it. But if you're doing that shit, like, and riding a dive for a lot of these fighters that ain't doing shit, not a goddamn one of them is doing much to write home about in this era. But you're over here like capping online, like, making bullshit content, to provide coverage for the cowardice that's happening in boxing today. But not one person here in this sport is doing anything of big note that you got to be riding and dying for them online or wherever have you, or paying for these fights. You shouldn't be attending this bullshit, and you definitely shouldn't pay pay-per-view for it, because no matter what, the pay-per-view numbers are used as a deterrent or a reason as to why one guy shouldn't fight another. I mean, like, even with minuscule numbers like the one that Errol Spence has been pulling versus what Bud's been pulling, it's not a reason to use it or levy it one versus the other, like, regardless of who has the numbers in this case, because neither one of their numbers are that big. Nothing to write home about. Neither one of these guys. But you have people. I mean, I was listening. Like, a lot of times I make or I get inspired to do content because yo, peace, Tyrone. How you doing, man? My bad. I ain't see it. You commented. But a lot of times I'll watch other content creators. Because one, I've been listening to them for a long time, but two, it helps, like, me in a sense, because it inspires me to, like, either get pissed off or, like, maybe I find out something that I didn't know, like online, especially a lot of these channels, like, they know shit that happens online, which I give two shits about. But as far as what the hell was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but right before I came on here, I was listening to a channel. Talking about similar subjects, Errol Spence, whatever have you. And people were calling in like, yo, after this, Bud ain't gonna be able to fight nobody. I'm like, bro, these dudes are pathetic. And to picture, I mean, like, we've pretty much known that Spence hasn't called out Bud since Bud last fought, which has been close to a month, let's say. Hasn't said anything really crazy towards him, besides putting out an emoji like tweet saying, I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I'm doing all the heavy lifting. Who's fighting the Ugases of the world? The Porters. The beaten Danny Garcias and the smaller Garcia, Mikey. Ooh, I challenge you, Bud. Listening to a lot of the content today that I did listen to, I already know that, like, we pretty much went from that point, which happened 3 or 4 weeks ago, where Bud beat Porter. A bunch of backtracking and bullshit, like business talk that was coming from a lot of these content creators, and then till now that there is some finalization, and Team Al and PBC and Errol Spence finagled some way, like, for Ugas to fight Errol next, and it's almost like a victory lap, like, for a lot of these content creators, and it's almost like a victory lap because of what could happen, like, in the negotiating table. Oh, well, Bud ain't gonna be asking, Bud be lucky to get $60-40. Like, what? Like, what are you getting from this? Like, seriously. But honestly, I don't think that that's gonna hold up long term. I think a lot of people, like, not a lot. I mean, I don't think everybody's in it. become detractors of Errol Spence. But I think a lot of them are going to start seeing this situation for what it is. I mean, if 5 or 10% people start seeing what it is, I think that's fantastic. Because I didn't see things for what it was, like, maybe 3 years ago. I don't know, but I caught on. But I didn't want to make content 3 years ago. I do want to make content now because shit, 3 years later, you know. But listening to a lot of these channels too, I already know what they're gonna do. Like, this is Falstradamus. Like, I've made videos like discussing people here on YouTube that I thought were gonna become scumbags, and Falstradamus predicted, and he was right. But this is my Falstradamus prediction for the Errol Spence Defender content creators on YouTube. This is what they're gonna start talking about, because they were already doing it today, so it's not like magic that I'm putting you onto, or some crazy prediction. They're really gonna start giving coverage to a lot of these celebrity boxing instances that have been happening. Because I mean, you can't go wrong talking any end of that. You don't got to talk tactics for celebrity boxing. You don't know what these motherfuckers are gonna do in the ring. I mean, how cool are you gonna look, like, talking about, oh yeah, I know Jake Paul got this like little like feint, like what, like, that's gonna be corny as fuck. But they're gonna do it. They're gonna try. But I think that they're gonna do a lot of coverage with this boxing business talk, and Errol's victory, quote unquote, in the negotiating clout. Which, I mean, what does it do for you? They're gonna be covering that stuff like more and more, because they were giving hard body coverage to this Jake Paul, whatever the fuck, or whoever it was that fought yesterday. And I think that expect a heavy dose of this going into 2022. I hope not. I hope a lot of them. I hope one. I'm not saying, like, I don't want the whole. I don't need everybody on the ship, like, but I want, if one person like that of these content creators that I have run afoul in my eyes, if one of them like changed their perspective, like, and started saying like, well, listen, like, I see what it is, like, not like, oh yeah, everybody wants to buff fight, but we just gotta wait, I guess. Well, what's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen 2022 or next. It doesn't happen. Like, I mean, like, shit happens. Shit happens in life. You can't expect, like, at one point it was a certainty that Anthony Joshua and Wilder were gonna fight. I mean, and that was over half a decade ago. Look where we're at now. A bunch of dudes that got beat on both sides of that equation. Oh, my bad. Let me read some of these comments. Yeah, I got it when you said Spence. I know you meant in the earlier comment. I think Crawford Thurman in the summer, then Spence Crawford end of the year. Yeah, I mean, like, in an ideal world, I mean, like, I mean, I guess I could ingest that, even though I wouldn't buy any one of those fights. But that's not what's going to happen. I haven't seen one iota of anybody on PBC showing any sort of motivation, like, when it comes to fighting Bud Crawford. Let me see. Had they done Spence Crawford, now the Ugas thing would be a Caleb Plant situation. Yeah, but I mean, I think the Ugas thing would be I don't know what you're referring to, like, wholly, but if it was like a negotiation thing, I think Ugas would race into a fight with either person in the aftermath. Biggest question for you, El, what are you gonna do after the Spence Crawford fight? Oh, them dudes ain't gonna fight, bro. I mean, I've said it. I've been saying for years that Crawford and Spence ain't gonna fight, and I'm holding to that even before. To be honest, I don't care about Wilder Joshua even before. Oh yeah, I mean, I did care though. I mean, and a lot of YouTube boxing was entirely driven by this argument, and it was probably like before I started chopping it up with you, like maybe you were around, like, as far as like peeping content and whatnot back then, but the whole like fucking YouTube boxing, like, that shit was entirely a Anthony Joshua versus Wilder debate, UK versus USA debate. Like Errol Spence and Bud Crawford ain't holding no fucking real territory like that. Like where one guy is holding clout over the other. Two nondescript ass places, fucking Dallas and Nebraska or Omaha. I mean, shout out to both the Dallas and Omaha, but like, I mean, you're not. It's not that big of a deal. I know Texas people like may get a little bit butt hurt at the notion of anything that sounds like it's not Texas love, but shout out to Texas. I got mad love for Texas, but no, it's not a major coast, and even major coast. You have Teofimo Lopez, like he's not a huge deal, and he's fighting straight out of New York. You have I don't know who boxes out of LA, but it's not that big of a deal. Like neither one of these dudes has anything going for them outside of fighting each other. Period. Period. My bad. Because I've exited stage left now. Ain't no shame, bro. I don't want to watch boxing because I'm entertained by it. I don't watch boxing because I'm entertained. I watch it because I want the guys I root for. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess getting invested. You know, I wouldn't blame anybody for getting invested. As long as it doesn't get out of hand, like you know, as long as you're not like a everyday participant of these echo chambers, and like then anybody who doesn't sound like that echo chamber or sounds like critical of anybody who they don't listen to within those echo chambers is like a heretic or a fucking he's the ops. And I know more boxing than 95% of you. Oh, absolutely. You run circles around me, you know, as far as boxing acumen. And honestly, like, you know, my disenfranchisement with a lot of these other creators is that they know a ton more boxing than I do too. I've said this many times. They know what's up. And you know, with this call-in show that I was just listening to, which every single caller by and large was talking stupidity and boxing business talk. A lot of those cats were older than me too, bro. It's like, and I'm an old guy. Every one of them, like fucking coughing, like we'll see Errol Spence like offer him 20%. Like fucking yo, you're a couple Sundays away from dying. And you're over here like delaying fights, bro. Shame on you. Not you, Tyrone, but do you got a link? Yeah, I got I'll throw you one right now. Hold on. But again, I mean, and most importantly, not that I'm dishing out marching orders, which I'm not, but I think the whole burglarizing when it comes to these fights, we're not gonna take it. Like, don't pay for this shit. Not one of them. Don't let one of these dudes online compel you. And even though I don't think they're gonna outright tell you to go buy these fights, but they're gonna say stupid shit like, "Oh, you know, these Bud Crawford fans don't even buy his fights," you know. But you know, us Errol's fans, we buy fights. We buy fights. Like, shut up. Like, don't buy none of this shit. Don't buy Bud Crawford fights. Don't buy fucking Wilder's fights. Don't buy Errol Spencer shit. Like, don't buy none of these dudes, bro. And without my influence, I mean, I could influence nobody. I think that this fight with Errol Spence and Ugas is probably gonna do 200,000 or less. I mean, and even though I think a lot of these numbers are fugazi, but you could probably compare it to Porter versus Errol Spence, and again, Porter knew English and was had one L maybe when he fought Spence. Yeah, I think one L. But what does Ugas bring into the equation? You know, a non-speaking Cuban guy, like, you know, Cubans I mean, check me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of many Cubans that have had the monetary success, like in a pay per view. Like, I mean, but if there is one, Ugas isn't that guy. That's what I'm saying. But um, I think for a guy in Ugas who most people don't know who he is, that you could see this fight probably doing less than 200,000 just on market effect alone. I think more and more people are streaming as days go by. I think more and more people are getting onto it, and then on top of that too, more people like me, like that aren't technically proficient, are seeking it out. I mean, like there's probably like a ton of people that are technically proficient that probably are in that bad habit of paying for these fights, that more and more are dropping out of it, that aren't paying for it. And I think that's riveting up month by month, like where more people are coming into that party. And I think it's going to have an effect on this fight regardless. I mean, in spite of the fact that the fight is bullshit, like Errol Spence versus Ugas. Ooh, Ugas versus anybody, but in spite of the fact that it's a bullshit ass fight, I think Team Stream is already having an effect on fights. When you look at Tank Davis's last performance, supposedly on pay per view, I think that that's gonna also play into this whack ass Errol Spence versus Ugas match. But with me now, I have my longtime compadre Tyrone. Let the people know where we can find you, my friend.
TS Boxing on YouTube.
Yeah. What do you think of? Do you have anything to input on what I was my diatribe?
No, I mean, you have your opinion about it. I mean, I think it's a good tune-up fight for Spence. It'll be relatively easy, and to move on to bigger and better things. I mean, I still believe that fight will happen at the end of the year, but boxing is awful because you'll pick guys who need to win certain fights and they can't deliver, but just demoralizes, a supporter base and leaves them out in the cold. The guys have lives to do. We can't be depending on somebody to continue to blow it. So we just move on. Like I said, I'm not a boxing fan at all. All you other niggas are boxing fans. Box fan that. I'm not a boxing fan.
I consider you a boxing fan.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of boxing.
Well, I consider you a boxing connoisseur.
You could say that, but I'm not a boxing fan. The boxing fan are guys who
jump on too, Watcher, if you want to come through.
Boxing fans are guys who will support people through thick and thin and want them to fight fights that are meaningless because they just want to be entertained. Boxing is like busting a nut to me. It's one time and that's it. It doesn't.
Boxing right now to me is like busting a nut when jerking off with Brillo. Like, this shit is whack, bro. Like, I mean, and anybody who's still paying for like the product that's currently out, as in any one of these
fights. I don't pay for any boxing fights.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying the people who still are.
They're weird.
I need them to jump on this side of the equation of not paying, like, because there's not one fight. You could probably add whatever Bud Crawford versus whoever his best fight, and Errol Spence versus whoever his best fight, and that wouldn't be
the problem right there. That's the problem.
On the same card, and that to me wouldn't be.
This is the issue here. This is the issue. This is what happens when guys do not win do or die fights and fans support them no matter what. Things like that right there. Right there. This is a guy who knows more boxing than you or anybody else on YouTube pretty much. Unless L-Dub. I'm not taking a shot against you, but just in general, I'm using you guys as an example. We're read up. I mean, we spend countless times reading boxing scenes.
You talking about Watcher?
Watcher, yes.
Okay, yeah.
This is the result.
Shout out to Watcher too.
This is the result when things constantly don't go our way. We're not boxing fans. I don't even like boxing fans anymore, to be honest with you. I'm not interested in watching matchups anymore because the problem is this sport is a one-shot sort of a deal. This isn't the NBA. If you lose devastatingly, you can't come back from that, especially in this day and age. You can't. You can't because you're only fighting maybe once, twice a year at best.
Well, I think to remedy that, I was actually going to say that.
Now.
No, but to remedy that, I think if there was more activity.
No, I think if they were to win. I think if they were to win. It's an elimination sport. If you lose badly, you're eliminated. You are eliminated. There are in 2021, if you lose badly, you'll never get back. You'll never come back. And you guys people can sit and say the opposite. That's not true at all. How many guys have we seen in recent memory get beat badly and they've never been the same and they've never been able to get a fight or whatever it is? I mean, Trill Boxing just did an interview with Mickey Bay. He was never the same after a John Molina fight, a fight he was winning up until the last minute of the last round. You've got to get it right first time around. And I can't stress that enough. Too many guys go into fights thinking that they'll be back. There are other options. I mean, look at heavyweight. There's no options at heavyweight. There are no options at heavyweight. You lose, you're done. Period. And that's fact. I don't care if I don't care if people are friends or brothers. I don't care. That's the truth of it.
Nah, but I mean, I at the end of the day, I mean, like people are gonna take their L's.
No, it's not. You can't. Back then, you could afford it because you can fight multiple people and guys were good. You can't afford to take an L versus bums today.
Oh no, versus
you can't.
bums,
you can't afford to lose. You just can't do it. Not in this sport. No, not today. Not today. You can't do it.
I know what you're saying.
You know that's the truth, dude. Look at all these guys who have been blackballed.
No, I know what you're saying. Like the
you need to win. Point blank. Period.
Between
point blank. Period.
Having that O and taking an L, even if it wasn't that bad, like is really big nowadays.
It is big nowadays because that's just the market. I'm not saying I agree with it or I disagree with it. But I'm just telling you how the market is today. Look at Triple G after the Canelo fight. Do you think he's in pole position?
Who's that? Caleb Plant?
Triple G. Is he in pole position? No.
Depending on against who?
Depending on what? He's 40. He's only fought once in 2 years. Let's be real now.
No, but I think if he went into a negotiation with like a Charlo or with the Andrade.
Went into negotiate with Charlo. That would have been much easier had he won, wouldn't it? Have been. I bad spot, and he lost a close fight. What about the Negroes who lost horribly?
Such as who?
Well, we don't need to say who. But there are guys.
Who are you alluding to, my friend?
Like, we all
let it out, bro. Like the year's ending.
We all know there are several guys, not just one or two. There's several guys who have lost badly. And
do you have any examples within this past year?
He was a pound for pound guy. You don't see him there anymore. Losing is a death sentence in boxing today. It is a death sentence.
But that's
nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say that.
But that's a byproduct of a really whack sport. That's
the byproduct of the environment we're in today. And you've got to either get with it or get lost.
Yeah, I mean, I can't come down from my expectations one iota. I mean, like,
no, I'm not saying to come down from your expectations. Yeah, you're a fan. You want to see the best fights, but you've also got to understand the hesitancy.
No, I do understand that.
Guy, if you lose, you're done, dude. No matter how bad you lose.
And at the end of the day, I mean, like these dudes, it's not like it's like a loss of hundreds of millions, multiple hundreds of millions, or you're talking about like at the max. Like
it's Errol, not that. It's respect. It's pride, it's ego, it's a lot of intangibles that go in it as well because you'll never get the chance to have it back sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean,
If
like
you have
me,
multiple rematches.
I'm like contemplating like cleaning a gutter, like and like being unsteady on a ladder. Like what these fighters like are feeling or their tentativeness has like zero to do with us. Like, fuck these dudes. And the
It
thing is
has
too that
nothing
I'm
to do
not
with you.
speaking
It has
to
it has you guys are a percentage of it because they don't want to go online and see all of this bullshit anyway. I mean, they don't really care about you guys. They'd rather fuck you guys than have you fuck them.
who's that, the fighters or the
The
promoters?
fighters would
Both.
rather fuck you than have you fuck them
No, certainly. I mean, they literally are fucking us.
because you do the same. You do the same if the shoe is on the foot. Is anybody going to help then? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Are you going to be there and put any money up for him if somebody loses badly?
What do you mean?
They're
As far
blackballed.
as
What are you gonna do for Mickey Bay? What are you gonna do for Triple G? What are you gonna do for all the guys who are in fucking you right? Yeah. What are you gonna do for all of the guys who are in pole position who lost badly? Nothing. They throw them by the wayside anyway. I'm just playing devil's advocate, right?
no, as far as what me the fan would do or like
Yes,
them as
as
their
the
promoter.
fan, as the fan.
I
How will
mean,
the fans
squat,
get
bro.
together and do what?
Dick, I'm not doing shit for the like one,
Right.
I'm
So why
not
should
paying
they
for them
do
in
for
their
you?
best days.
That's what I'm saying. Can you see how they're very hesitant to making these big fights? That's before I used to get on them about it, but now I saw, especially after the Triple G one, this guy was a marquee guy. I mean, look at him now. Who's supporting him? Who's going to come back and say we must get him a fight and organize and put money up? No, you guys don't care. You just want to be entertained.
No, I honestly I contended that Triple G wasn't getting the monetary support throughout his career until it came to the zone dishing out money for him, and or until he fought Canelo. But like he didn't have that bargaining power. Like he was more of a novelty act even in his prime outside of fighting Canelo, and outside of the zone throwing him money after he fought Canelo, and they probably threw him money because they thought
Do
he
you
could
really
fight.
think the zone is paying him what they said they are?
What, back then or now?
Now,
Probably not. No, definitely not.
no.
I mean, he's getting paid a lot. Like in today's landscape, is he getting paid more than what Errol's getting paid per fight, or in Errol's best fight? Absolutely.
Who knows? I mean, you don't know the contract. I mean, DAZN literally opted out of a contract they couldn't pay for Canelo, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm pretty much sure that they're dishing out more money than what Bud's max pay per view was, or more than Errol's max pay per view is. Like so I mean, like but as far going back like to what you were saying regarding the tentativeness, at the end of the day, fuck these dudes, bro. Like you're in the gym every day fighting. Then these dudes spar like fucking nonstop, like fucking 19 times per day, putting up whack ass videos. Like, I mean, if you're about it, like to do all that shit and popping off on the internet, then you should be fighting all the fucking time. You're alluding to assholes like or other assholes by throwing out fucking whack ass emojis, and like then everybody wants to fucking dissect the fact that they put a crying emoji and like, oh wow, well he means this, like fucking that'll hold us over for 3 months. Like like that, like the fact that these dudes may lose their fucking scalps if they lose in the ring has zero to do with us. Like, I mean, bro, like I literally had somebody I grew up with fucking die yesterday. Like, per se, if that had been me, like fucking I'm gonna leave this earth with the last best fight fucking being Jake Paul and fucking God knows who last night. Fucking garbage, bro. Like, we can't keep waiting on these dudes. And I'm not saying it's you guys or like a person like Watcher, like that's a more of a connoisseur and that's like interested in the sport and doesn't like really take sides as far as these stupid YouTube factions go. It's not for you guys. It's for the people that like, will try to fucking cut your jugular if God forbid you talk about Errol Spence, or if God forbid, you fucking are somewhat critical of Canelo or Wilder. Like, it's for those people because those are the names that are paying for these fights. And I think personally that taking the juice away from pay-per-view on not paying for it, getting more people to not pay for it, getting more people here on YouTube that I'm pretty sure by and large are paying for these fights, or a good portion of the people that are paying for these fights are on YouTube, getting involved in these debates. Get some of them to the track too, because it's not like they're gonna like not pay for one fight. I think it's gonna be ultra convenient, like it's been for me, and they're gonna realize what the landscape is currently. They're gonna see that all these fights are bullshit. Ugas versus whoever, Keith Thurman versus Bud. Oh yeah, like I don't give two shits about those fights, none of them. And like I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, in best case scenario, we're gonna get that Bud fight at 35 for Bud. It's not right. I mean, Wilder's 36 right now. Like on the heels of two of the worst losses he's ever, his two worst losses bar none. Getting his ass whooped on an epic level. And I mean, did age have a factor in that? Maybe. But it happened at the same threshold, 35, 36. Like did I win?
But now what? Now what with him? This is what pisses me off, right? These people fucking lie and say they're gonna support him, all this stuff about they know there's nothing out there for him. He's in such a horrible situation now, and it really annoys me. It hurts me because of that. Because he was in fights that he could have won. Especially those last two. He wasn't in there with a guy who couldn't beat.
But that's a done deal, though, man. I mean, like,
no, it is a done deal, and it's fucked now. It's totally fucked.
But I think the more important
now
thing
we need to leave this because of what happened.
But I think the more important thing is like, like I don't think we should continue. Not you, but I don't think that we should continue to have this very hands-off approach, like when it comes to criticizing Wilder or any of these fighters. I mean, it's not even a Wilder thing. I mean, like, but and I mean, like at this stage of the game, it does seem like there's no big fight that's on the horizon for him. But I mean, some of the assholes gonna follow up and say, "Oh, well, Luis Ortiz Part 3 is gonna be a nice little fight," or Andy Ruiz is a nice.
You say right now there's no fights out there for him.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, no, without a doubt.
There you go.
Like, I don't want to see him fight.
Career is totally ruined now.
Pardon
it's totally ruined. It's totally ruined.
I mean, it's ruined in the sense that like his career won't continue in the same.
There's no point fighting if you.
No, I'm not advocating for him fighting anybody. If he retired, I mean, it is what it is. But I rather it end in that fashion, in the ring, like with somebody who we did want to see him fight. Sure.
What will that do?
Pardon me?
What will that do?
No. I mean, I'd rather see it lost in that fashion than lost through like evasiveness or like.
I'd rather him be evaded. I'd rather him have not fought anybody than to have to see that happen to him, because that's not about that. I don't want to see that happen.
Nah, but that's anybody. Personal. Like in your.
Yes, it is personal because I don't want. I didn't like seeing that with Stavern. You think I was happy? Do you ever see me say, "Wow, he totally knocked out that guy"? I don't see that from anybody, dude, because that's not cool to see.
About saying who, you said, do I see you saying what? I'm sorry.
Wow, he literally knocked out that guy and killed that guy. Fuck that dude.
About who? About Wilder or about somebody else?
Any of his opponents, for one. No.
Yeah, but
I'd rather have seen him with an O. Honestly, I just don't like seeing what we got now. That's not worth it. That's not worth it at all.
No, I mean, I mean, and personally, I've said it before. Like I was vested into Wilder a lot more, especially Wilder's my favorite fighter. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'd rather him lose it.
How can he be your favorite fighter? How can he be your favorite fighter after what happened? How?
No, but I'd rather him see it like
forget about we need to forget about the fighter aspect for 1 minute. We need to forget about this fighter aspect for 1 minute. For 1 minute. Just as Deontay Wilder, say he was your brother or your sister, whatever it is, right? You wouldn't want him to to continue doing this garbage.
I'm not advocating. I don't know if like I'm making it clear. I'm not advocating him for
I
him
know
to
you are, but you're
continue
saying
or
you're looking at it from the boxing fan lens, right? You're saying he's your favorite fighter and everything, but same sentence you said he got his ass whooped.
absolutely. But bro, I'm a Met fan. I'm a Knicks fan. They suck. My teams. I mean, like it's pretty much lateral. Like to me. I mean, I only have one favorite boxer. That's Deontay Wilder. Like
But how
outright.
can that happen?
Pardon me.
How?
No, I'm not saying that I'm gonna give him provide coverage or like he's still like besides the fact that he got his ass whooped by a better man, bar none,
He's not a better man.
bar none, better
No,
man.
not
But
true. Not
but
true.
besides
Not
that
true.
though,
He might
at the
have the
very
better
least, and
skills. He
no,
might
but
have the better
peep game,
skills,
no,
but
but
there's
peep game.
no reason why he couldn't pull out the
Man, he
win.
was never gonna beat Fury, bro.
That's
Like,
bullshit.
but listen to me.
That's
But
bullshit,
at the
and
end of
you know that.
at the end of the day, that went as far as my fandom goes. That went as worse as it could have gone in both fights. Like Wilder got his ass whooped. The second fight, Wilder got his ass whooped in the third fight. However, I rather him lose in that fashion
Hell no.
than like something bad happening to Bud Crawford out of the ring. Bud Crawford losing to whoever the fuck outside of Errol Spence. Errol Spence launching through a fucking windshield. Errol Spence in one of these Homo erectus clubs that he goes to, and something happens. Like that's what like why I say like that. It's a there's an impetus like to making fights happen now, and we're not getting that like bar none. Like and I think a lot of like the fact that like these fighters go through these really strange thrashing sessions lately, these upsets, has a lot to do with that these dudes are fighting twice. In addition to fighting twice per year, they're giving us fucking garbage like what Errol Spence has given us for 2 years. In 2 years he fought Danny Garcia, who nobody wanted to see him fight, and now he's fighting Ugas, another person who you have to Google like what his face looks like. Bud Crawford, like fucking fighting Porter, like who's already lost a ton of times, fighting Amir Khan, fighting Kell Brook, this is the problem with the sport. I mean, like if these dudes are running it all the time, even in today's
I still can't believe that you come out. You said you would rather have seen him on the floor like that, hurt that badly. That's shocking stuff, really. How can you say that for somebody who says you supposedly support him? My thing is this: it's not. That's
no, I'm not tied in like that though. At the like it's
shocking stuff.
No, but in my comparison, it would be basically: do I want the Mets to have a horrible year, or like do I want them to be because they have a shitty team going next year? Do I want the season to be canceled? Like with
you can say I like his style or something like that.
No, I like the whole thing, bro.
No. You can't say that though. You can't say that because you wouldn't want him put out like that.
Career wise,
his career was pretty much effectively ended with that.
Nah, but I mean, I wasn't like fanboying for him like that though. You gotta understand, like
no, but
he was my favorite fighter.
I might like certain fighters, but I don't say I'm a fan of them. Means you're like pretty much on them past.
I mean, I know what you're saying.
On some other stuff.
No, I know what you're saying, but
on some thinking about another man type stuff, like me, like waking up in a sweat before the second Fury fight that morning, thinking something's gonna go wrong.
No, that's you though.
Weirdo.
You were a weirdo. Fan. I'm not a fan like that.
Some weirdo Homo erectus type hugging, loving stuff on some other stuff. That's the type of stuff that kind of showed I might have been on, might have not been on. Weirdo stuff. That's a boxing fan. If you're not on that's a fan. That's a fan.
I'm not a fan in that fashion. I mean,
okay, then you're not a fan.
Pardon me?
Then you're not a fan of him. You like his style.
No, as far as like overall, like the character I like the most.
No.
Last 10 years.
You've got to keep it
bar none. Like,
you've got to pick
Deontay Wilder.
But you see what I'm doing? I'm picking one or the other.
No, I mean it's not that like serious to the debate in my eyes. Like
I think it is. I think it is because this is what's caused the division with certain radicals and certain people, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have one like with you on this channel as we speak. Like, in no, in spite of the fact that, like, and I say it again, like, in spite of the fact that Wilder was the boxer I rooted for the most in the
I'm
last
gonna be dead honest with you. I know
decade or so.
you're probably talking point right
Nah,
now.
but peep game, in spite of
You're
the fact
probably
that,
like you'll probably like this, right? You probably think like this. Oh, he lost, he got destroyed, whatever, but he's my favorite fighter. He'll come back, and I want him to fight other guys. I absolutely detest your
no,
talking
me,
point. No, I'm
hell
just saying
no.
you don't think that. Okay then. All right. I
No, me,
thought you were
I've
thinking
never
that.
alluded to that. I mean, like, we've had conversations here and outside of YouTube. I've never said, well, I think like Andy Ruiz is a nice little matchup. Like, I've like mocked that stuff. I'd rather him like pack it up now. But like, in spite of the fact that I'd rather him pack it up now, like, or the fact that just because Wilder shows up, I have to drop what the fuck I'm doing and pay for one of these matches. Not that
No,
kind of
I'm not
party.
paying for any of his
No,
matches.
but in
He's
spite of
done.
all that,
Mhm.
you know, um, he was the fighter that I rooted for the most.
But a
But it
root
was
has
never
to be on some heavy type stuff. A rooting for is not wanting him hurt, your own brother sort of weird homo stuff. That's what you've
nah,
got to get on
bro.
my line.
I have legitimate brothers, 5 of them. I don't root for them, but I root for them, but it's not like that kind of party, like fucking where I can't see them, God forbid, get hurt. Like, I mean, like fucking like that's a abnormal behavior. Like, I mean, like, we're
When
I
I
think
saw him
everybody.
like one, I wasn't crying. I didn't cry about it. I was just so angry. I was so upset because let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. He was in a fight he could win. Very good chance to win. He wasn't in there with a guy that he couldn't beat at all. He wasn't in there with a master boxer or none of that. He was in there with a very vulnerable fighter who's solid for today's standards. I was not crying watcher. I was just angry and
Nah,
upset.
I think Watcher may have a point there, because to bring it up at this stage of the game, like, I mean, like,
I
it's
bring it up
something
every day because it's
that's
the most important.
it's
It's
something
so
that's
important.
scratching that's scratching at your inner being, bro. Fuck it,
It
bro. Like,
is.
bro. At the end of the day, man, like, even the fact that he got his fucking shit handed to him.
I just don't like saying that. Please just don't
In
say that.
spite of that, bro, in 2030, you're gonna be telling little Ty, like, fucking your son, like, I watched this dude Wilder, because you're not gonna say that about Errol Spence. You're not gonna say that about fucking Bud Crawford. You're not gonna say that about Canelo.
You really think I'll be saying that
Man, if you talked
about
about boxing,
Deontay?
if you brought up boxing,
Oh,
if
you
you
think I'll be saying it in a good light?
possibly, I think you
Yeah,
would,
shut
bro.
up. No, I won't.
I think you would.
No, I
No,
won't.
but because there would be nobody else for you to bring up. I don't think you're like riding for Canelo like that. Um, if you brought up a fighter from this past era, I think it would be Wilder, and that's
This
a
is
good
a
thing.
guy who doesn't get up for any of his knockouts.
That's a
You
good
root
thing,
for
bro.
him for something that's not about boxing. This people guys don't understand. It's because of one reason only. I needed him to win because we don't have any representation in this country
For heavyweights,
for heavyweights.
get over it, Tyrone. Leave that
No,
shit
no,
be,
no, no.
man.
I won't get over it.
The
I won't
man
get
took
over
an
it because
L,
this
bro.
is a
Like,
big
fucking,
no,
it
no,
happened.
no. It was
Man,
unacceptable loss. It was
no way.
unacceptable. It
I
was
mean,
unacceptable.
the conditions leading up to the loss were unacceptable.
No, shut up about the excuses and stuff. I'm talking about after
Oh, no, no, no. I'm talking about the selection and trainer.
that's the third one. But even the first time he lost, you should not be getting taken out like that. Period. And not by that Michelin man. No way.
Hold on.
It's true, Watcher. I always talk about this with him.
Oh, man. LOL. Wilder fucked up badly. It's on him and his team. It's true. Tyrone Blackstar got his original channel back. I don't know. My bad, bro. You were crying. Let's be honest. Damn, did I miss these before? You were crying. How a foul player always talks about this. He always talks about this week.
I do.
Nah, no shit. I mean, What he does talk about this. He talks about this here and
There's
behind
no
the
way I
scenes.
can talk about boxing without talking about this embarrassment.
No, it's not that big. I don't know why it's impacted you like
It
this.
has impacted me. It's turned me off of boxing.
And you're admitting to this, bro.
Of course, I'm admitting to it.
Ye of no shame. The
This
nah,
is
but
the truth.
no, but look, we're at the 11-day threshold of ending this 2021. I think you don't gotta shit on him. If you want to, you could, but
Shit on who?
I think it's a good time to put the Wilder shit behind
No,
you.
it's impossible. It will never be put to bed. It will never be put to bed. It will never be put to bed.
Then I
To be
think
boxed up
in
is
your
one
heart of
reason
hearts, then
is
you may have
okay.
been a fanatic.
No, I'm not being dramatic. I'm
No,
telling
no,
you
I said
what
you
I
may
did.
have been a fanatic.
Fanatic for non-boxing reasons.
I thought you said something else there.
No,
What were
for
these
non-boxing
non-boxing
reasons.
reasons?
The one I told you about. We needed somebody from here to represent us very, very well. I can't accept that he lost to somebody subpar. It's just hard for me to
Yeah,
accept.
I think a lot of this,
It's
like
hard for me to
no,
accept that he
your
lost
post
to a
Wilder.
subpar opposition.
No, I think a lot of this post Wilder doom and gloom from you. A lot of it is that you don't want to give Fury credit either.
Give him credit for what?
Ah, you see, watch. I hope you caught that, bro.
I've
Like,
already told Watcher that I wouldn't give Deontay credit if he beat Fury anyway.
nah,
They
but
all know
yo,
that.
at the end of the day, bro, it's a done issue, man.
The
Like,
thing is, there was only you could only lose. You could only lose. Like beating Fury does nothing from him, except the first time around, the second time around, right? Because he needed that win. Because I think he just has a duty and he needs to fulfill it. No greatness or nothing like that because the division is poor. But for him to lose, to a subpar level op like that, that's embarrassing. You can't
he's
take
not
it.
subpar, bro. You're fronting on
He's
yourself, man.
subpar, dude. He is subpar.
He's gonna rip Usyk apart if he does fight him, bro. The man is
You
not
you
subpar.
need to stop. You might need to fix your medication.
We'll see. We'll see. If they ever do fight, he's gonna rip him apart, bro. The
How's he rip him apart? Doing what? Leaning on him, holding on. That's not boxing,
absolutely
nigga.
what he does, bro. Like whatever Fury does, it works. And by and large, he like lately he hasn't been getting into wars. I mean, oh,
He
he has been
hasn't been
getting into
getting in the
wars.
wars.
Wilder was a war. I mean, or not lately. I mean, like, or he shows the ability that if he really put his foot down, that with somebody like Usyk, that may not be a war like that. Like Usyk doesn't have the potential to hurt him like a Wilder
Put the
did. Like,
money up.
and he's gonna be leaning all over him. Like
Put the money up.
for Usyk Wilder, I mean
Yep.
Fury,
Yep.
bring it on, bro. Like fucking,
500.
we'll throw it up.
5. 500.
I'll put it up. Absolutely, bro.
Let's do it.
I may throw a little double ski on you too if I do a quadrant of rounds like 9
If they
to 3.
fight.
Pardon me.
If they fight.
And it has to be pending on when they fight, though. This is a pre 2024 if they fight. But absolutely.
Why? Why does it have to be pre 2024?
I'm not gonna fuck a guy like. Have you seen Fury? Like the dude's fucking grabbing at his nose like.
No excuses.
For over a decade and a half.
No excuses.
Nah, if they fight pre 2024, that's fair enough.
Usyk is a winner.
Absolutely. I give Usyk all the credit in the world, but I don't think he'll be Fury.
Why are you dead set on this Fury God shit? He's trash can, dude. We all know this.
He may be trash can, but he's far and away way better than anybody boxing today.
Not true. That's not true whatsoever.
Better than Usyk. He may not be pound for pound better than Usyk, but he's a big ass dude. Give it up to him though, bro. Like
no, I won't give it up to him at all. He was in there with a guy who totally dropped the ball. If he had boxed him and did whatever, okay, fine, cool, you won. But to come into wheelhouse and do all that, hell no, I'm not giving him credit for that. No
That's
chance.
more of a reason to give him credit, to give Fury
Why?
credit.
For what?
For going into somebody else's wheelhouse who's known as
He
the
got
biggest
the
puncher in
he got
boxing.
the tactics wrong.
I'm sorry?
Dude, let me tell you the fuck this, right? If you saw who Wilder was sparring in the first Ortiz fight, you would have a heart attack. There's been so many issues through the years with his camp. He's not even used 10% of his full potential. We've been robbed of that. My blood pressure has increased.
I think 2022, bro, you got to start anew, bro. Like, get into Big Baby Anderson.
Big Baby
and,
Anderson is a fucking
he'll ride you
garbage.
into infinity.
No, he
You'll have
won't.
all the success in the
Big
world.
Baby Anderson is garbage, man. And I don't rock with anybody who's hugs with. I don't rock with anybody who's like joined at the hip with doofuses or is in love with Top Rank. How about you be yourself for one for a change?
Who's that?
Jared Anderson. I don't like him at all.
The Big Baby, yeah.
No, thinks he's better than he is. The real Big Baby was stomp him out right now today.
No, what I was alluding to is the fact that like now that we're 11 days from 2021 ending, that you could.
I'll never forget this.
No, but you could put your hopes on a new American champion in Big
What
Baby.
I already have explained it. I won't be 40. I'll be 40 before the time we have anybody decent.
40 my ass. You may never get it.
Well, Mike never got it, and that's so sad.
Those are tight ends that are going to UCLA and to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are your American hopefuls.
I think 500 is very solid. I don't even mind doubling it because I just believe that you guys are building up a bum. You're so dead set on him being good. He shows you all of his flaws.
Bro,
he is an awful fighter.
He's still carrying an O. He's still fucking.
Carrying what O's? How many times?
Humongous events. Like, no, but I mean, like, you know, you got to be going at the skulls.
And it's not a completely blemished. He has a draw. He's not unblemished.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, who's resume or whatever do you hold in higher claim, Wilder's or Errol Spence? Or Spence? Hells no, bro.
You're on drugs.
Not one iota. Anthony Joshua probably has a comparable, if not better, resume than Errol Spence.
What are you talking about? Resume only counts if you win.
Well, I do give it in the sense of but Tyson Fury's resume has no losses, and it's far better than Errol Spence's resume.
No,
far better. Bigger events by far, like
bigger what events? He has
bigger victories, bigger scalps.
What is the bigger scalps?
Well, like it would be equivalent to Keith Thurman beating Bud Crawford 2 times and pulling into a draw the other time.
Off the gas, dude. Deontay got in Deontay's way.
Nah, but like, is it not a good comparison though? It would be the equivalent of Keith Thurman.
No, it's not. It's not the equivalent at all.
Coming off the couch, and pulling into a draw with Bud Crawford.
Not even close.
Coming back and beating him twice.
That's not close at all. That's not close at all. That's not even equivalent at all whatsoever.
In what sense?
Deontay was not the number 1 in the division.
It's a bigger feat. Like for like what Fury did than Keith Thurman potentially beating Bud Crawford 3 times. Like I said,
your medication, dude. You might need to fix that a little bit. Something's not right. I mean, how can you say that?
Bro.
How can you say that him coming? Why do you hold Deontay in such a high regard? I don't look at it.
It is what it is. But
no, is what it is. Who
rather than holding Wilder in a high
we can go down this rabbit hole here.
No, but am I gonna go like to the welterweight division and hold any of those guys in high regard? Absolutely not.
What were you talking about? What are you talking about?
What part?
Which wins of Wilder put him number one in the division
No, it's not. But at the end of the day,
before
Wilder.
Fury fought him in 2018?
No, but Wilder and AJ were atop the division, bar none. For him to beat one of those guys off the couch is just as big of a feat, if
That's
not
not
bigger
true
than.
at all because Terrence Crawford was a unified champion, was a
Doesn't
lineal
matter
champion at
though,
135.
Tyrone.
I mean,
At
and
the end of
skill
the day,
wise,
these
it's not
two,
even close. It's not. It's
it's.
not. It's not comparable whatsoever.
I think it's more compare. I hold on.
F1 instead of boxing.
No,
No, no,
I
no,
think
no.
it's a
I don't
better
agree with that.
comparison,
No,
Tyrone.
no, it's because of this is the problem. You Fury fans have to build
Me,
up
I'm not a Fury
Deontay.
fan, bro.
If you believe he's good, really good, then something's not there. I said even before
No,
Deontay
but
fought
listen,
him the
listen, listen,
first
bro.
time
No, because
that Fury isn't very good.
I'm not even in the fanhood landscape of any of these cats, bro. Like, I mean, I think you're getting the overall picture of what this channel, like, or me, is about. I don't like cap for any one of these dudes. Like, giving somebody their credit. I mean, like, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I'm gonna give him his credit. You know, I didn't like Jordan like while he played, like, but I had to give him his credit. But just because I give it up to them, I mean,
Give it
doesn't
up
mean
to what? Give it up to what?
give
Give it
it
up to what?
give Fury his
Somebody who
props.
doesn't use his full potential. Somebody
Give
who's still swinging at all this stuff. I mean,
No, I'm talking about Fury in this case, though. Like the fact that I still give Fury his props,
you
or that
give
I
him
give
credit
Fury his
because you
props.
thought so highly of Wilder because you didn't have the expectations you were supposed to have of him to begin with. There's no reason why his technique has stalled so poorly.
But
He's
that has
regressed.
zero to do with Fury, though.
Yeah,
That has to do with Wilder. At
has
the end of the
nothing to
day,
do with no, it has nothing to do with him. You're right, but it has everything to do with the respect given after. We're playing these retrospective politics, making out Deontay is better than he was because of Fury beating him. Deontay didn't do what Deontay needed to do to win out to pull out a relatively comfortable win against opposition had he used his potential and improved easily.
but I think you're going back into that inner agita as like your personal frustrations
My
with the
personal
result of that
frustration is
fight.
because if I have somebody I really want to win, I want the best for them. I
But
expect
that's
the
you. That's
best
a
for them.
personal thing, though,
I don't
Tyrone.
make somebody out to be more than they are because some guy I didn't like or some guy got the win over so and so that I can do my own internalization. I don't do any of that stuff. I look
No,
at the
it's not
situation
that
as
kind of
it
party here,
was.
though. By any stretch. I mean, like, and a thing is too that I think a lot of consensus
No,
of.
but you said something really shocking. You said that Keith Thurman, if he were to come off the couch and beat Crawford today, that wouldn't be anywhere close to Fury coming off the couch to get a
It
draw
would be
against Wilder. I
comparable.
mean, that's you can't. How can you even say that? That's not
It would
even.
be it would be comparable. If not, it would be a lesser feat than what Fury did to Wilder.
Watcher,
Like,
what do you think? That's not true whatsoever. It's not true whatsoever. Was
I don't
Deontay
think
unified
Watcher can
champion?
say.
Never.
Hold on, I just saw Deontay Wilder maybe going to Mexico City. Oh God, I wonder who he's gonna fight in Mexico City. The suspense. No, but it is. I mean, like that. That's just my like my prerogative, and
When
it's
it's
there's
all
no
said and done, the Fury fans will say Deontay Wilder was an amazing fighter and he was one of the biggest punchers in the division. Real fans of Deontay on some other stuff who really wanted him to win are going to sit back 10 years from now, like me, are going to say, with Deontay, there was a lot left to be desired. We're extremely disappointed and frustration with the letdown. Real fans of him. And that's just what it and that's the
What do
truth.
you think? What do you think the fanboys would be saying 10 years from now regarding Wilder?
I don't know what the fanboys. They'll say he was an amazing fighter and he came up short against an even better fighter, which isn't true at all.
Do you think that do you think that the cheating is going to come up in that conversation?
Listen, I've already said what I thought about that. I don't.
No. What do you think? Like, do you think that they'll mention the fact that they feel that Wilder was cheated potentially twice or 3 times?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they will say that.
But that's what I'm saying though too, and like that's the standard of somebody or the conversation of that's the conversation of somebody who is a fanboy of
I
Wilder.
can look
Even
at a
like
picture and say the picture is shit. Most boxing fans will look at a picture and say that, oh, well, it looks good here. Maybe if I look at it upside down, it looks even better. This is the kind of pushback that I've been getting for a while now with Deontay. With Deontay, as fans, we should be upset and frustrated with the loss because we saw him have the potential to achieve much, much
leave
more.
it be, bro.
No,
At the
we
end of
can't.
the
No,
day,
we
bro,
will.
like
We will
regardless
never
of
leave it
Wilder,
be. It will never leave it be. It's completely against all the boxing.
If Wilder
It
was gonna
made watch.
rectify any of
Look at
these
it. It made
skills,
Watcher leave boxing. It made Watcher leave boxing. It made Brooklyn Child leave boxing. That's the God's honest truth. And both of us know more than any of these. All three of us probably know more boxing than any of these guys who get on here and do lives daily. Period.
but I mean, I wouldn't invest into any of these dudes like that where
We've all
I
left
would
because
stop
of this.
watching outright. I mean, like, period. I mean,
We-
like
We've
my
all left because of this, dude. We've all left because of this. It was such a letdown. I'll never forget this in my entire life.
I
It's
mean,
such
it
a
was a
warning
letdown.
sign for me.
It would only be a letdown if you didn't anticipate him losing. If you didn't anticipate losing, I think there's something wrong with what you may be viewing. Like,
And I
if you
think it's
didn't,
something wrong if you think that Fury was a great. If you think Fury is a good fighter, I think there's something wrong with those lens there. We can play that game. What we need to understand, fact is he's not using his potential. Is that a fact? 100%.
who Wilder?
1,000%.
But this is a done issue, though.
No, no,
At the
no.
end of the
Listen,
day,
listen.
like
There's no,
for
no, no,
him
no,
to
no. This
rectify
plays in it.
the
This plays
potential.
in it.
No,
No,
but look,
he's using his
PK,
percentage.
no, but look, for him to rectify a potential issue, he would have had to gone back 10 years, 5 years.
Exactly.
Okay, but he
Exactly.
wasn't doing that from
Exactly.
jump. So what were
Right.
your
So
expectations?
why should we give Fury credit for beating somebody who's not even at 10% of where he should be?
I mean, where are we going with this though? At the end of
That's
the day,
what I'm
so
no, no, no. Where
but then
we're going
then you're
exactly where
also
we
gonna
should be
say that
going.
but then you're also gonna say that you expected Wilder to win. I mean, that doesn't make sense, Ty.
I expected him to win had he used his potential.
Come on, bro. But you gotta go back 10 years for the potential.
Why didn't
But
they
at
do
the end
that?
of the
Why
day,
didn't they
bro,
build
that
a
fight
time
already
machine?
happened,
Why
Tyrone. Let
didn't
it
they build a
go,
time
bro.
machine?
Pardon me?
Why didn't they build a time machine?
That's for the engineers to discuss, bro. Like, I'm a fucking bum from Brooklyn. Like, like I don't know how to do
You
interdimensional
don't understand
of
what
yet.
devastation this has caused. We live in a world where Fury is seen as a great fighter. He's anything couldn't be farther from the truth. We live in a world where Ryan Garcia is a great fighter. I mean, the ripple effect from guys not getting the job done the first time has just. We need to warn guys. Say, listen, you need to get hype jobs and bums out of here because if you don't, people will continue to elevate them.
No, but I gotta take off though, man. But at the end of the day, it does disappoint me a little
It's
bit.
just a heated debate.
No, I do get disappointed that in all seriousness, like that Brooklyn Child and you and Watcher, people who I know are real boxing fans, and I'm gonna leave off with this. Like,
Real knowledge, real knowledge.
no,
We
real
know our
knowledgeable
stuff.
connoisseurs.
Yeah.
That you guys get disenfranchised. That you guys may have gotten disenfranchised to
Not
the point
may have,
where
we have, we've left. I mean,
let me
Watcher
finish though,
included.
bro. Like, come on. But it does hurt me. That people that I actually know and love, as far as like on the YouTube sector, like as far as Watcher, Brooklyn Child, you, Tyrone, like people that I've been talking to on the WhatsApp group for years, even, who I've grown to love, that you guys have gotten disenfranchised due to the fact that Wilder did take the loss in this fashion. But at the end of the day, if you need any word of encouragement that would keep you enthralled with this sport, know that one thing that would keep you driving forward when it comes to Wilder, he is your king. And with that,
You better
I
stop
hope
it
you guys
about
had a
me.
wonderful evening. Thanks for watcher.
What an insult.
Tyrone, let the people know where we can find you.
Don't find me.
But do subscribe to Tyrone TS Boxing and go check out his content. And he's not usually this frazzled. But I think better things in the years to come. But thank you for watching. Everybody else who comes on and sees this after the fact, and everybody who is here in the live stream. Thank you all for coming through. And with that, I'm out. Peace.